Hey everyone, how's it going? I hope you're doing well. In this video I'm gonna show you my fighter tanks build. And yeah, so it's a module 19 build. It's supposed to be for Zariel, but you'll be able to run any content with this build. Obviously, like the stat caps are the ones for Zariel. If you're gonna run Tom or other contents, then you can adjust to those caps if you're not going to run Zariel soon. But this build works for every content. I solo tank Tom with it, I go in IC with it, and can hold aggro basically everywhere. If I'm not messing up, nothing will save you from that. And so yeah, I will show you how I did it. It's not the only way to do it, but I found it to be the best way to maximize the stats on your tank. So let's get started from the ability scores. So I went for Constitution for extra hit points. Obviously you want to take Constitution always. And Charisma helped me a bit with Companion Influence to increase my stats, because as you can see my stats are barely capped, so I really need that extra Companion Influence. Recharge speed is not as important, but to be fair, like even using those points into Dexterity or Strength wouldn't make a big difference. So I just used them there because it was easier to get the stat caps. Then as you can see here, all my stats are capped for Zariel. My defense is 86k, but I have the Fiend Force Breastplate, which will put me at 90k when I'm in the group, because it will be extra 4k defense when I'm in a group in any trial, or dungeon. And then we have Critical Strike 90k, Critical Avoidance must be 95, Accuracy is again 90k, and so is Deflect. Combat Advantage needs to be 140k. You don't really need it to hold aggro. So the thing is, the more damage you do, tank's damage is very low, but Combat Advantage still helps increasing it. So you don't need Combat Advantage to hold aggro, but it definitely helps. So if you're losing aggro, it might be because of your skills, because of, maybe you're not capped on other stats like Critical Strike or Accuracy or whatever. So it's not like you have to cap it, but it's nice. And also, like, why shouldn't you cap it if you can cap it and also get some power? Like, you see my power is really high to be a tank, and if you're struggling getting all the caps, you can just lower your power and increase whatever stats you need. Power is very much the last thing you want to increase on a tank, together with crit save. So I just put some stats into power because I was already capped on everything else. But if you're struggling, just move those stat points out to whatever you need to. And yeah, I will show you my secondary stats as well. So I'm not running tactical, so my incoming healing is just 4%. I'm not using the color either, so if you're using that one, you'll be at like around 7 to 9% incoming healing depending on the rarity of your color. And also we're using the last feat that gives us incoming healing, and that helps a bit. It's not like 100% uptime, but it still definitely helps because you can pre-proc it when you're gonna need some extra heals. Okay, so I'll show you my gear. So I went for high item level gear for one reason. It gives you a lot of combined rating, a lot of hit points and stats, and it helps you capping all of them. So Lion Guard head from the campaign store. Then we have the Fiend Force Breastplate. This running helps your stats a lot because you get extra 4k defense in the group. Otherwise you can also run the the Lion Guard Breastplate, which helps a bit with self heals. Then we have the Lion Guard's arms for the same reason, and Fiend Force Greaves. Yeah, the arms and the boots are also nice because they give you extra power when I'm in combat. So with this three pieces, like the boots, arms and ring, when I'm in combat, after 2 minutes I'll be at like 155k power. the weapon set for tank, it's important. You gotta keep the Lionheart set even if you get the Celestial one. I have it, so I could choose between the two either way, but Lionheart's better because you get the damage reduction when your stamina is low, which is really nice. So whenever you use your stamina, it can be for judgment in Zariel, can be for if you have a lot of stacks of annihilation in Tom and you're gonna take a ball. When your stamina is very low, it helps you reducing your damage. That's great. And alright, so my neck and waist is very important. They don't serve a purpose other than just capping my stats. It's just for that. Like, as you can see, I'm not using any set. They don't match with each other. It's just to cap my stats, whatever I need to get to the cap. And Tanner's Arden leather ring. This one's for, so if I have a very good group and I know that I might lose aggro on the first balls in Tom or in Zariel, for example. Basically, if you have this one, you get in, and at the start of the boss fight, you use your daily, and you hit the boss for at least 500k. That can be modified by debuffs. So yeah, it's gonna be a big hit. It's gonna make you very high on the aggro list, if that makes sense. Like, you're starting off with high burst damage, which is good to old aggro batter. You don't necessarily need it, but if you have a very good group and you struggle at keeping aggro, even though you have like capped combat advantage and stuff, yeah, just try this ring out and remember to use your daily whenever like the boss fight starts. So on the first ball in Tom, or on the second boss in IC, some people are struggling there as well, and yeah, in Zariel as well. Then we have this ring. It's just it gives a lot of stats, which is nice, and also it gives you some power when you're in combat, so it's again extra power. It fits my stats perfectly. It works for me. If you can get the +4 version, it comes with 1 defense slot if you need more hit points, because as you can see, if you want to go for more hit points with this build, you can totally do it. You will need to lose some combat advantage probably, or some power. If you have to choose between both, always lose power rather than combat advantage. And yeah, because my rings have 2 offensive slots each, so you can just swap them out for rings with 2 defensive slots. And shirt and pants are just for the highest stats and whatever you need. Like, I have armor and combat advantage, you get whatever you need for your caps. So artifacts, obviously as secondary artifacts you want to go for the journals. I'm using the Darken instead of the Flayed. Flayed would be better because it has like 3k hit points, but I need that extra deflection and companion influence from the Darkened. Yeah, if you don't have those, you can go for hit points artifacts like the Erratic Drift Globe, the Sword of Zariel, Alistair's Scepter, or whatever comes to your mind. And yeah, so I'm balanced, my stats are balanced with Wyvern Knives, because my Frozen doesn't have journals, so sorry, it doesn't have pages obviously. So when I'm in Zariel, for example, I always use knives, because you will need 2, at least now we're running 2, 1 for the debuff and 1 for the mitigation on the damage. So yeah, there's always need for Wyvern Knives. Otherwise I can just run my Frozen without dwarves, which is great as well. So I don't need to put any more artifacts in, but if I go for like Tom and stuff, whatever artifacts I use, I'll still be capped. And alright, so in defensive slots you want to use Radiance, hit points obviously. In offensive slots I'm using all Radiance 2 and 1 Tenebrous. It's not needed to use like all Radiance, it's just increasing my power because I have my stats capped, but you can go for Assassins or Black Ices if you're still struggling. and you will need one Tenebris because it adds up a lot to your damage. It's like 24k damage. For a DPS it's already like 2, maybe something around 2%. They damage 1%, 2%, and for us, for tanks which have way lower damage, it's even higher. And then on the utility slots, I'm using dogs to help me cap my stats. I mean, 5 rank 15 dogs are basically 1.8k stats, you know, for each stat, so you're getting 1.8k of each. It's very nice to cap stats, and I'm just losing 10% incoming healing, which I don't need anyway, but it can be nice to run incoming healing if you're not like if you can't rely completely on your healer, so that's up to you. Reinforcement kits are hit points on the left side, CA on the right side. You can also use stamina regen reinforcement kits if you want, but I don't feel like those are needed. And alright, what's left to say? I'm using the modification for Brazen Slash, but yeah, like it's a minor thing. It's the actual that I use most of the time. And for the secondary weapon, hit points and incoming healing, I guess it wouldn't hurt to use crit severity either, but you know, might as well add some since I'm not running tacticals. And yeah, that's it. So I hope I didn't forget anything about the equipment, and let's move on to powers. So these are the powers I'm running for Zerial. Let me double check them. So Brazen Slash is the one I'm always using. It helps with stamina restoration as well, and it's the one that deals the most damage per second. And then I'm using Threatening Rush to increase my threat. It's nice to use it like you know, just sometimes during the boss fight, every like 8-10 seconds. This is how I use it. And for the encounters, we have Shield Throw paired with the first feat. It increases your aggro a lot, and just spam it whenever you get it back. And Iron Warrior, you want to save it for the phases where you need it. So in Zerial, you want to save it for Judgment on tank, for the overhead attack from the devils, and for whatever you need it on the angels. The third one is Anvil of Doom. Why Anvil and not Enforced Threat? So in Tom, I would usually run Enforced Threat because it has a lower cooldown, and so I just like it more. I don't have to use the feat for it in Tom. I just run Enforced Threat. But in Zerial, you can't run Enforced Threat during phase 2 and phase 4. Because there are 2 enemies and you need to have the aggro of just one of them. If you use Enforced Threat, you are risking to get aggro from both and make your group wipe. So you need to run Anvil, and obviously with it you need to run the Anvil of Challenge class feature. Otherwise you're not getting aggro. And for the second class feature, you can run either Combat Superiority for a bit more damage on your at-wills, or if you feel like you're slow as shit, you can go for greater endurance. But most times when I need movement speed, I don't have stamina, so it wouldn't help either way for me. I'm talking about Zerial. When I'm going into Tom, I just switch out Anvil of Challenge for greater endurance, since in Tom I need more movement speed and I don't use Anvil anyway because I'm using Enforced Threat. And this is it. For Tom, as I said, I would use if I'm solo tanking, I would use Iron Warrior, Shield Throw and Enforced Threat in phase 1. And then when I go to phase 3, I would probably switch out Iron Warrior for Knight's Valor. Just so if we have like solo tank and solo heal, when we split for IPO, I can use Knight's Valor and absorb all the damage that the healer is going to take. The dailies are phalanx that you want to use. I mean, it depends on your group. You can use it on Skating Light in Zerial, or during the Celestial Armory, White Noise, or Weight of Virtue, however you call it. And and in Tom you can use it for Superstorm, Heat Wave, and whatever your group needs, if they even need you to use it. And the second one, Second Wind, it's for the oh shit situation. Taking too many balls in Tom, or maybe you're low on hit points, you have a vulnerability up stack during the Angels, stuff like that. Just use Second Wind to save yourself. And yeah, so for the feats, the first one is for shield throw, second one is cleaving bolt for AoE situations, but it really makes like small to no difference. Third one's combat balance. Even if you don't like put any effort into balancing your stats according to what the description says, you're still gonna get some damage mitigation, so that's fine. It's like damage mitigation for free. And then you have okay, so the fourth feat is useless. I don't use Bladed Rampart, no, I use Determination, but I just went for this one if I ever need to, I don't know, protect me from combat advantage, so I can use Bladed Rampart, but it literally makes no difference to me. If you can make use of one of these two, just go for whatever you want. And third, the last feat, the first one is okay, but the second one is better in my opinion, this mod, because it increases your incoming healing. You can pre-proc it, and increases your damage as well. So if there are some phases you need to deal a bit more damage, to old aggro, you can pre-proc it as well. And yeah, I like it more. Obviously, like, some people ask me how do you keep aggro at the beginning in second boss I see, even first boss I see. Tom, not as much Zariel, because I'm not like main tanking as much, but what I do is just like a few things and then do whatever works for you. Find your own way to do it. But what I do is, like, I use shield throw as I get close, then I close completely the gap with threading rush, and then I will try to get one hit behind my shield using dig in, so I can proc or retaliate early during the boss fight. And then, if you want like the cherry on top, you can use your daily to proc the tennis hardened leather ring, but that's it. One thing I forgot to mention about my equipment, it's very quick, my overloads. I'm not using any overloads because I don't feel like they're doing any, they're making any difference for me, but if you want to, you can run corrupt if you want like unlimited overloads. But the best ones would be Bulwark of Brimstone and Resiliency of the Depths, because yeah, this one works on all the damage. So yeah, if you want to use them, but they are limited, let's say, so it's up to you. And alright, so I think we are done with powers as well. I'll show you my boons if you're interested in like literally copying my build, but do whatever works for you. Obviously get hit points, get movement speed, get companion influence, get incoming healing maybe, and I got recharge speed, but even like crit stab works, to be fair. And the last boon has to be Focus Retaliation. It's just great. And let's see, so all the boon points I've put into power, you can see I'm not even maxed on boon points. You can just put them in other stats whenever you need them. That's just fine. Power is completely secondary on a tank. My stronghold boons are Arm Pen. If you don't have it, use Crit Salve. If you don't have Crit Salve either, use Power. Then obviously hit points and revive sickness. My companions are the Iron Golem, Zentarim Warlock. This one's the last companion that came out from Redeemed Citadel, but I don't remember the name of. It's like something soldier, blah blah blah. And Moonshade Druid, Energon. Yeah, pretty straightforward, I'd say. And so my equipment, I'll just show it to you. You don't need me to read it, but this is how I balance my stats. And as you can see, I'm using powered runestones. Again, if you need other stats, just go for them. Power is completely secondary on a tank. And yeah, so this is how I balance it: crit avoidance, deflection, 12k CA, accuracy CA. The goat, I find it to be great summon companion because it gives you ampen, crit strike and combat advantage, offensive stats that I needed. So in my opinion, the best companions as summoned are the goat or the boar shoat. You can also use another augment, but those in my opinion are the best ones because they help you capping your main stats. And alright, so this is everything. The announcement, I went for crit salve, whatever works, to be fair. I just think it's the best one for me. The combat power, I mean, always ask your group what they need you to run. And yeah, whatever works. So now the 3 Tyrannosaurus stack. So King's Spines, Commander and War Painted. If you use them at the same time, you will have 30% debuff. But if you use, let's say, a legendary King's Spines, I mean, you can't get that one. Let's say a legendary Commander T-Rex and a mythic Commander T-Rex, they won't stack. Just the highest debuff will apply. And alright, so obviously you want to get hit points for your equip power. And these are my Insignia bonuses. So all the insignias are fortitudes, which give you the most amount of stats. Obviously they're better than prosperity because they give you defense as well. But if you want to go for that cheap option, then prosperity is a good option too. And yeah, so I went for 1 gladiator's guide for movement speed and then 4 personal heals. If you want to switch one of these personal heals out, definitely switch out Oppressor's Reprieve. It's the one that procs the less, I would say. So if you need to put another Insignia bonuses in, whatever it is, take out this one. The colors, I don't have them. I would probably go for at will's damage. I would probably go for either incoming healing or movement speed. Probably at my point I would go for incoming healing, but if you need more movement speed, go for it, especially if you're running tacticals. And then something between recharge speed and crit stab, I don't really think it makes a difference. Maybe recharge speed helps a bit with anvil cooldown, but that's about it. And yeah, so the other are not as important. As you can see, I'm not even running them. I still try to cap all my stats, but the colors are just let's say they help a bit, but they are minor things. And alright, so this is it. What else can I say? I can tell you what potions I'm using. You can see them here. So it's Wildstorm, Caprice, Superior Potency, Flask of Superior Potency, and Prime Rib. And yeah, so when I go in Tom, since I will be already capped on deflect, even without the Caprice, I will use the Anniversary Ham, which increases the amount of hit points my stamina is worth. So it's gonna be, my stamina is gonna be close to 1 million worth of hit points, if that makes sense. Sorry, I'm not English, so please translate it for me. And yeah, these are the potions I'm using. On my potion bar, I'm going for Greater Stun of Health. Obviously, you always need to have it if you need to heal yourself quick. Caprice or Anniversary Ham, whichever like is your consumable that you lose when you die. You don't lose your Flask of Potency, Wildstorm, etc, etc. You just lose your Caprice if you're using it, or your Anniversary Ham. And Pierce of Bahamut, just to help like the cheap ass DPSs get back up when they die. And that's it. It's just nice to like save other people's scrolls. And yeah, so I hope this this build helped you. And yeah, so try it out and see whatever works for you. This is what works best for me. It might not be the same for you, but I find this a great way to balance your stats out. And yeah, so have a good one in Zariel, in Tom, whatever content you're gonna run. And if you have any questions, let me know in the comments. I will probably release some videos about the gameplay, or how to hold aggro at the beginning of boss fight, things that a lot of people are interested in. And see you guys next time.